Nowadays, starting an Amazon business is easy, right? The barrier of entry to open your account, get set up in Seller Central, and just have an active selling account is not very difficult. It takes a couple hours, a couple weeks for everything to process, and you're good to go with the account being made. However, the amount of sellers that make an account and don't last it 4, 6, 8 months and don't make this, a full-time gig for them is exponentially low, right? It's easy to make an account, but the barrier to break the top off this thing and really make this something that's substantial, that's a little bit more difficult, right? Because it's so easy to fail as a beginning Amazon seller for several different ways, which we'll get into in this video, right? First and foremost, the biggest reason why newer Amazon sellers fail is that their product data, their product research, their product analysis isn't thorough, right? There's several different ways and several different kind of aspects of specific product research that can cause newer sellers to make a mistake. And the first one is that the current market doesn't equal the historic market, right? A lot of times I see newer sellers look at some product research, look at a product, and they see the current buy box is at 50. Right, and that's great if they're buying it at 20, right? That's plenty of profit there. That's a solid product, you would think. However, as we always talk about, the real analysis is in the historics of the product, right? So granted, the current buy box is at 50, but if the historic buy box, if the trending is between, call it 20 and 25, well, that's a totally different story, right? Then there could be a number of different reasons why the buy box is currently spiked at 50, but we have no real analysis. We have no real intel that suggests that price is going to continue at 50. That's what we call the unknown market, right? Buying into the unknown market is oftentimes going to lead to headaches, lead to losing money, so on and so forth. That's why as Amazon sellers, we want to operate in the known market, right? The historical information, the 90-day buy box, the 180-day buy box, as much as possible to use that intel into making our futuristic purchases. The second kind of analytical mistake that a lot of newer sellers make is they don't pay attention to the offer count. The offer count is probably our biggest indicator of what the future price activity will be, right? If a product has been trending between, call it 25 and 30 for 6 months, but in the past 2 or 3 weeks, the offer count has spiked from, call it 5 sellers to 15, well, that's a problem, right? That means, assuming the demand is steady, right? The price has been at one specific point, but all of a sudden the supply is increasing, right? There's more competition coming onto the listing. Well, that only means one thing, right? More repricers combating each other, more sellers looking for the bottom dollar, more sellers looking for the next sale, which will lead to inevitably the price lowering, right? So those are kind of two aspects of really necessary research. And we'll look into my screen and kind of check out a few products which represent what we're talking about. So this is the first example of a sort of product where a lot of Amazon sellers falter and end up failing and losing money, right? We see this market, right? We're looking at the past 3 months of data, and historically over those last 3 months, the price and the buy box have been kind of trending, hanging out between, call it 18 and 20, right? Which is fine for buying this product at call it probably 7 or 8, maybe 10. This works, right? But the problem lies where sellers find this data point, right, this $40 buy box, they get excited and then all of a sudden buy into a product with not really any few further analysts and really research, right? So many times newer sellers see a product spike, don't necessarily pay any attention to what the known market is, and all of a sudden that product ends up tanking, right? Because when we differentiate between the unknown market and the known market, this is unknown. We have no product information that suggests and proves that this will continue up here, right? The known information is right here. And these are where we're putting our next dollars in our business. We're always going to be operating with the known market in mind, right? And so this is mistake in big analysis, big product research mistake number one. The second product research mistake, which we're referring to, is no sort of attention being made to the offer count, right? This is market number one, right? We're hanging out between, call it 160 and 175. Offers are pretty steady. This is fine, right? This is one specific market. However, for whatever the case may be, offers start to spike. And again, like we talked about, anytime the offers start to spike, we know that the price will follow in an inverse way. More competition, more repricers, all these things that we just talked about. This is that this is epitomizes what that situation represents, right? Right as we're hanging out between, call it 30, 20 to 30 offers. As soon as those offers start to increase, the price drops, right? And so we need to have that foresight. So once we see that offer count rising, right, if it goes from 30 to 40, 45-ish, we need to be able to get out of that market then, right? Because obviously this will happen in some of our products. So we need to mitigate our losses. We need to exit the market here when we see that trend starting, when we see that offer count starting to rise, as opposed to here when the price is fully tanked. And this is, again, something that now we're losing potentially $20, $30, $40 with, right? These are the sorts of products that we need to avoid. Offer count rising and the current market that does not equal the past historic market. Another area where I see a lot of newer sellers faulting and really losing speed in their business is not placing test orders. Test orders are super, super important because as fluent as we may be with sourcing, right, as intellectual and as knowledgeable with Keepa as we may be, really taking in all of the information, still it remains to be known exactly how that buy box algorithm is going to operate. We can have that estimation, we can have that foresight in terms of, I think I'm going to be able to sell X amount of units over X amount of months, and that may be good. But test orders are important, especially getting going as newer sellers, to just take that buy box algorithm for a test ride, to be able to throw 20, 30, 40 units at a buy box, see what sort of ownership we can expect maybe long term, and use that data to then forecast out our 30 to 45 days, right? That's just a more calculated way to go about your purchasing rather than going full bore on a product right away, right? Test it out for 20, 30 units. Get that average unit sold per in stock, to get that metric in terms of how many units you're selling per full active day, and then extrapolate that over 30 to 45 days. That'll give you a lot more information rather than guesstimating. I think I'm going to sell 200 units over the next 30 days. Let me place that $200 unit order today and see what happens. Furthermore, test orders are really good to just kind of Q&A the product, to make sure the product is how we think it, how we expect it to be, and also what the consumers are expecting on their end, because we don't want unhappy consumers. That's no way to run a business. The last area where newer sellers are failing, and really one of the big reasons why they don't last longer in this business, is just the lack of networking, right? Networking is crucial for the synergy of this business, for building this business, right? Putting out content, talking with other Amazon sellers, brainstorming, troubleshooting, all these things help to speed up the growth process in your business. Once you find like a close-knit a group of friends where you can bounce leads off each other, bounce ideas, discuss problems that you may arise, it's just the synergy in that sort of atmosphere where no sellers are kind of leaving anything off the table. Everyone's committed to the group growing. That atmosphere is just going to exponentially speed up your timeline, speed up your growth, right? Because this Amazon world is ever growing. It's a positive sum game, right? You're not likely going to be competing with any of those sellers, even if you're on the same product, just because like your geography and the demographics of how the buy box works. I can be competing with one of my friends, right? But we're not on the same product, but we're not actually competing and providing combating offers because we're probably servicing different parts of the country, right? So the last piece that really, really stunts growth in Amazon is the lack of, building those relationships, building that network inside the community, right? Because I can go to the store and there's not probably going to be any Amazon sellers. I can go hang out at the bar. There's not going to be any Amazon sellers there. It's a really small community, and it's important that we find other like-minded people that are trying to do and trying to build the sort of business that we're trying to build. So with that being said, guys, that is all for today's video. All the reasons why I've seen that beginner Amazons fail. If you like the content, if you found value in this specific video, be sure to like it, be sure to share it, leave a comment. I appreciate the support. Give a subscription, or please subscribe to the channel if you so choose. But with that being said, we'll see you in the next video, guys.